Hey guys, what's up? Charlie here. It's been quite a while, really. I think it's been a year and a bit more since last time I posted an update regarding on, James leaving and all that stuff. And basically, after that happened, I kind of took a long break, but at the same time, quite a few stuff happened. And I'll explain what exactly happened in this video because, you know, I feel like I have an obligation to let you guys know. It's my responsibility to let you guys know why did I not show up for a year. And it's just things happen, and I'll let you, and I'm back. But I'll start basically from the start of after James left till now. What exactly happened and future plans for this channel because I promise, like I promised from the last video, like I will keep this channel alive because I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but we'll talk about that later. So after James has left, I continued with my work basically to try to keep the company running, and it exactly didn't go so well, and things happened. But I'll first explain what my job is. So I worked with a few mechanical shops, like car mechanical shops, and also I had a old friend from high school, which he also came back to Hong Kong, and he was working with tuning cars and stuff. And basically, what I did back then was I actually purchased secondhand vehicles or vintage vehicles from the 90s and maybe from the 80s from Japan or from other owners in Hong Kong and basically fix up the vehicles and resell them. That was basically what I was doing to make a profit. And I actually did. It was actually quite an interesting job. I actually do like it. Like I actually do get a chance to drive some of the vehicles that I actually never dreamt, in my life that I actually get a chance to drive. And, I actually earn enough money right now to actually buy the cars that I actually never thought, I actually would buy. But things didn't go so well this year or currently, so but I'll go on with that. So that was my job, and originally I actually planned to take like a month or two break, to actually think things over, think of what to do for the channel in the future, and that was part of the plan. However, um, I was kind of emotionally stressed at one point because I felt like, I'm basically one man showing everything that supposedly was meant to be done by a team, and I was actually think of how to rush the schedule. Let's say, for example, back then, me and James. So he'll take Thursday, Tuesday, I'll take Monday and Wednesday. Friday's the day off, and then Sunday is when we film some other, interesting video ideas. But it didn't work out so well back then, didn't it? And now I'm basically trying to do everything myself to keep up the schedule, which no, it's not going to work out. So I was kind of stressed out and maybe think of, you know, what to do or maybe something that could keep the channel interesting, you know. But nah, I didn't. It didn't go so well. Uh, and at the same time, just physical life itself, like just it just feels really shitty for me. I mean, sure, I get to my job is actually kind of interesting. It's something that I like. I like driving, and it's to do with cars and all that stuff. But outside of work life, it just felt really shit. In fact, it still kind of feels shit right now. I don't even know how I survived till now, but yeah. So, ironically, back then, I still have kind of someone to talk to. Now, there's no one to talk to. Ironically. So, even if I were to talk to friends, it will be friends from back in Australia. I'll talk to them on, SNS and stuff. But locally, barely anyone I could talk to. And I guess it's like a difference in culture. Like, I may be speaking in the language, you know, we both speak in, but I have trouble communicate. It's not communicating, like basically to blend in, because our interests and our culture and the way we interact and we work is completely different. I kind of am able to work with my friend right now, like back then. I still kind of am working with him like on and off, but the reason we kind of work well is actually because he came back from UK, so the culture is kind of similar on how we work stuff, but locally it's just too competitive and our interests just don't match. Let's say, for example, right, um, the culture in Hong Kong, like, here's how I observe. People like to go to karaoke's. People like to go to, you know, what's that shit called again? Uh, they like to basically go window shopping, and they like to talk shit on the net. I mean, I trash talk sometimes too, but oh, and they like to watch online soccer matches, and that's not my interest. And even if I were to, let's say, for example, go to karaoke sessions with them, ironically, 90% of the songs they sing are cantopop, and I don't listen to it. You see the difference right now. And things that I would be interested in, let's say, dark humor and or maybe shit like maybe stuff that I watch on, I don't know, on Netflix or something, or like TV series, they most likely would not have watched it because it's not in their culture. Maybe back then in Australia, I would still watch some of the shows or maybe current events and stuff. But in here, they don't care. They don't really care about what happens outside. Most of the time, it's basically scandals and uh, like stuff that actually happens locally. And what matters more is basically Mark 6 numbers. That's basically Powerball or lotteries. That what matters most is lotteries and jockey, horse racing. So communication is basically a minus point for me right there. Okay, I think I went way off topic. But basic conclusion, I have a hard time to blend in or to basically, make new friends or anything like that. And I don't blame it. It's just a vast difference in culture. And yeah, I don't really enjoy my life here, but it's not like I have a choice. So back to the main topic, I have a hard time and things weren't going really well. I do earn money, but I just wasn't, exactly doing things I really want to do. I did try to look for a new partner to actually sort this channel out, but unfortunately, again, it's just doesn't work out. First of all, just difference in culture and work style is just doesn't seem to fit my criteria. I actually tried to look for like 2 to 3 person. We talked about it or how we should make the channel work, but not. So moving on from that point, it was just stressful, and I think it was after my birthday. It was somewhere around the end of September. Yeah, it was after my birthday. There was another vehicle that I just sourced back then, and yeah, it was another vehicle I sourced. Recently got it, but there was just a lot of problems with it. It's a 1994 Nissan GTR R32. It's actually a really cool car. I'm sure when I say it, a lot of you know what it is. And if you guys have me on Facebook, you would have seen that car. And I have a really fucking I have a pretty interesting license plate on it. I still have it on my other car right now, but that's for later. So I recently sourced this Nissan GTR R32, and I think it was a 1994 model. It was white, pretty one of the rare models because white wasn't really produced in '94. It was a it was a Zenki, I think. I think it was a Zenki model. Okay, I'm going too technical right there, and I think it was a V spec, but that doesn't matter. So that car has a lot of problems. I've been testing it for a while. I've been getting new parts. I've been trying to fix it, and there was this one point when I was tackling my way back home because I live in mountain areas. Uh, I realized there was something wrong with the suspension. So I'd already told one of my partners and my friends about this problem and said, we'll look at it. And unfortunately, that day it was raining. It was raining really hard, and it was at mountain. It was basically in the mountain pass. I was on my way home, and I have a urge to pee. Yes, I was not. I'm not kidding. I actually really wanted to go to the bathroom at that time. So I kind of pedaled to the metal. And what's worse, there was something wrong with the suspension. I knew it, and I was running basically our tires. Basically, those tires are for track. They are not for wet road. They're not for everyday use. I have no idea why I had those tires on. It was stupid of me. I didn't change them back, but yeah. So I was basically going gung ho on the way home. I stepped on it, and doing all the stuff I was doing, trying to get back home to pee as soon as possible. And there was this one sharp corner. In my mind, I already knew I can't step on it because if I go into that corner, something bad is going to happen because that corner is way too deep. And I don't know. That car, to me, I feel like I was just driving like a really shitty Corolla. Yeah, it felt nothing like a GTR. It was a stock car as well, but I don't know, I already tried, fixing this and that. I already knew something bad was going to happen. But I have no idea why. I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. So I did it, and halfway through, there was this big snapping sound. It just went boom. And then all of a sudden, the right front suspension of the car, it just kind of like, bam, just, I don't know, just kind of snapped or some shit. And then the whole car just went, and then I was on third gear. I think I was like going 70 kilometers per hour trying to tackle that corner, and I was like, oh my fucking god! So I basically, heel toe, downshift, trying to turn this way. I thought I saved it, and then just kind of went scratching through the whole wall, and it just bounced back off. And I basically downshift again, trying to save it. And at one point, I just felt like four tires itself, the whole four wheels were locking down for no reason, and that was actually I looked it up later. That was actually one of the known problems with the R32 because it's an all-wheel drive system, and back then the system had this new technology known as HICUS, and what that does is basically everyday vehicles we have, the rear wheel spins and the front wheel doesn't, or the other way around. In an all-wheel drive system, all four wheels spins, but in order to increase stability, when going into corners and driving fast, the rear wheels actually can turn a bit as well, and that is known as hiker system. Basically, in a funny way of saying it, you can actually drift with an all-wheel drive system. Well, that's something. But usually what people do is they basically cut the whole system off because it was such a shit system. It locks up your tires from time to time, and it's just crap. Well, I didn't know that. I admit it's my mistake. So basically, what happened is my suspension snapped, the high kiss kicked in. It was on a rainy day, and I was in the corner, and I tried to save it twice. It didn't work, and that moment I was on the ledge, and basically it crashed through on the stone walls and all that stuff, and almost like a quarter of a car was out, and I was like, oh my fucking god. To be honest, I thought I was going to die at that point. So I pulled the handbrake, and I was like, if it doesn't work, I'm going down there, and see you later. Well, kind of a third of the car slid out, and it stopped, and I'm alive. So at that point, I opened the door, tried to get out. When I looked down, I was like, oh shit. So I closed the door, I took a smoke, and I called my partner, and I was like, quick, get a tow truck. We better tow this vehicle fast. I don't want anything to happen. And of course, things never go your way. The cops came and they think I was drink driving. They took me for a test and they were like, what the fuck were you doing? And I was like, dude, I live up there. I need to go pee and all that stuff. But he was like, no, you know, screw you. Go pee in the bush or something. And yeah, I did pee in the bush. They took me for like alcohol breath tests and all that stuff. And then they told me I have to bring in my insurance and report in and tell them exactly what happened that day. And that was the whole ordeal. Then afterwards, there was all these like insurance claim. Basically, the government wants me to pay for the stone ledges that I destroyed with the vehicle, which I did, and then I have to go to the hospital as well because they were like, you need to make sure you have no problems and stuff. So I went to the hospital at one point, and I thought things were just going to be fine, so I can just literally walk off. It was like the next day, they kind of force you to go check up. So basically, uh, they have this thing known as like motor vehicle salesperson insurance or what that thing is. So basically, the government pays you if you can't work, and have to go get like a doctor's note. And halfway through my checkup, I was like, everything's fine. I know what's happening. I just felt, all beat up because that's usually how you feel after a crash. So I was just gonna leave. Then at that moment, I touched my head and I was like, oh shit, I actually bumped into my head. And then like the doctors and the nurse, they all turned to me and they're like, oh my god, better get this kid down for a CT scan. And I was like, a CT scan? That's gonna cost me like 500 USD. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. And then they fucking push me down on a wheelchair. And I'm like, I could walk. And then you better not get up or we'll have to tie you down. And they took me for a CT scan. So in the end, I have to pay for that CT scan. But, I mean, of course, luckily nothing was wrong with my brain. I was fine. It was just a little bump, kind of, I was fine. And, yeah. So that basically got me all the way through to January and February, and things weren't going so well. Of course, I kind of took a 1 month and 2 month break off after that because even my parents wanted me to take a break. And afterwards, I'm pretty sure you guys know exactly what happened here. So in Hong Kong, uh, basically, uh, there was this legislative law they were going to pass that allows people to be escorted back to China and vice versa. I can't really explain this in like a really, TLDR way, but basically there was this law that was going to pass that allows, criminals or convicts or anything that's in suspicion to be, transferred back to mainland China. And people weren't happy about it. So there was a huge uproar. Then somehow it just escalated more and more and more and more and more. And there was riots everywhere. People were throwing bricks. They were smashing MTR signs and smashing up stores, and then cops were coming in. Both sides were crazy, like tear gas would go boom, 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 and then I'm not gonna comment too much on it because I don't I don't want this channel to go political, and I'm not gonna give my political views on this thing because I don't think it's appropriate of me too, and I want to keep it as neutral as possible. So, anyways, TLDR, shit happened in Hong Kong. I literally can't do anything, and I couldn't even drive. There was a period of time, but yeah, and we are at where we are today. So I feel like I took a long enough break, and it's time for me to come back to 13 equals B. So yeah, I'm back. That was a TLDR of exactly, or not exactly, basically, I kind of speeded up of what happened when I was away. Oh my god, it was 21 minutes. But whoever watches this and finish the whole thing, kudos to you. But future plans of this channel, I'll probably take the next week or two to basically plan up what exactly is the release schedule and what kind of videos I will be making. If you guys want let's plays, to it'll be really helpful if you can comment down there on what exactly they want me to do. But I kind of have a plan of what exactly or what kind of thing I want to do. I will still do let's plays, but I think that won't be as frequent as videos I make because that makes it easier and I have a more flexible time. I will be making you know recommended videos of games and all that stuff. Despite I haven't been playing much, but I will try to get back on track with what's you know currently in the trend. I don't know. And let's plays, and hopefully you know I'll start maybe a live stream tomorrow. Actually, not tomorrow. Maybe this weekend and next week, and basically have a chat with you guys on what exactly I should do. But yeah, it's way too long. 22 minutes for an update video. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. This is Charlie, and I don't even remember what I said back then. I'm trying to think. Uh, this is Charlie. Like it if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. Was it something like that? Oh my god, I can't remember what I used to say. I feel old now. Oh, I miss James. But I'll see you guys later. Peace.